You won't believe how a mother's quiet life turned into a $3.5 million revelation on live TV and left her daughter completely speechless. I never thought a silk blouse could feel so out of place. I stared at myself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman looking back. At 63, I'd grown used to worn sweaters, soft shoes, and a life built around going unnoticed. But today was different. I was meeting my daughter Alexia. She had requested no scheduled lunch at the Meridian, one of those places where menus don't have prices and the waiters seem like investment bankers moonlighting in aprons. To talk about family matters, she'd said. That phrase alone had been echoing in my head for days. I checked my purse one last time. $47 in cash, a debit card linked to an account that danced between $3 and $100, and a forgotten business card tucked behind my license. Harrison and Associates, Wealth Management. A relic from a life I barely claimed anymore. 23 minutes later, I was parking 3 blocks away from the restaurant. Because who can afford valet when your car might not even start tomorrow? Alexia was already there, of course. Immaculate as ever. Her hair shimmered in the light. Her suit probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. "Mom, you made it," she said, standing to give me a hug that was more choreography than affection. "You look nice." He nodded. "You look beautiful as always." She had picked the most central table, the one where everyone could see us. That's how Alexia operated. Visibility was her love language. Before I could even glance at the menu, she said, "I ordered us the tasting menu. I know you've been economizing," said with a smile so soft it could have cut glass. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. Kept my face neutral. A trick I'd mastered over the years. Then came the real reason for this lunch. "I wanted to talk about Thanksgiving," she started. "Richard and I think we should keep it smaller this year." Translation: smaller but not small enough for me. Richard's parents are coming from Seattle. And the kids, Emma's 15, Jordan's 13, they've got their friends, their activities. 9 people total. 10 with me. Too many apparently. I swallowed hard. "So, one more would just be too much?" She sighed. "It's not about you, Mom. It's just that things have been awkward. You don't really contribute to the conversations anymore. About travel or, life." "Yes, life. Because apparently mine didn't count anymore." Her voice got lower. "Richard's family. They're used to a certain atmosphere. And lately you've seemed kind of disconnected." I remembered last Christmas, sitting silent while Richard's mom recounted her $12,000 Mediterranean cruise. I'd nodded politely while wondering if I could stretch my groceries for another week. "I was listening," I said. "But you weren't participating, Mom." I watched her completely rewrite our relationship in real time. One polite rejection after another, all under the banner of concern. She smiled. "You'd probably be more comfortable watching movies at home. I'll bring you leftovers." "Leftovers?" Put my fork down. "Are you telling me I'm not invited because I'm poor?" She winced. "We just want what's best for everyone." "No, Alexia. You want what's best for you." And suddenly something inside me snapped. Not a breakdown but a breakthrough. Years of shrinking, of apologizing for existing, dissolved into clarity. I reached for my purse and stood. "You're absolutely right. I don't belong at your table. Mom, don't be dramatic." "It's not drama. It's clarity." I walked out of that restaurant with my back straight and my soul on fire that night. I sat at my small kitchen table with a cup of cold tea and the business card I'd carried for nearly a decade. Harrison and Associates. A reminder of a life I'd stepped away from on purpose. I dialed the number. "Hello, this is Janet at Harrison and Associates. This is Diane Carson. I'd like to talk to someone about liquidating some assets." The office hadn't changed much since I was last there. Same marble floors. Same faint scent of leather and cologne. But I had changed, and for once that felt like an advantage. Janet met me in the lobby, her professional smile faltering slightly as she looked me over. She couldn't quite hide the question behind her eyes. Does this woman actually have money? I knew that look. I'd seen it on Alexia's face just yesterday. Charles Harrison greeted me with a warm handshake. Older now, with silver in his hair, but still sharp. I sat across from his massive desk and watched him study me like he was solving a puzzle he didn't expect to find in his inbox that morning. Diane, what brings you in? I'm planning a donation. A significant one. How significant? $3.5 million. He blinked. Back. That's generous. May I ask who the recipient is? The Southeast Asia Children's Future Initiative. The room went still. The kind of still where you can hear the air conditioning and your own heartbeat. Charles carefully picked up his pen and then set it back down. You realize that would represent about 60% of your liquid assets. I'm aware. Have you spoken to your daughter about this? No. And I don't intend to. Charles looked at me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Tell me why now. I looked him straight in the eye. Because my daughter told me I wasn't welcome at Thanksgiving. Not because I said something wrong. But because I don't fit in anymore. Because I'm poor. And she's ashamed of me. He winced but didn't interrupt. I've spent years pretending that being invisible was easier than standing up. But now, I'm done shrinking. Charles opened a folder and slid the paperwork toward me. Well, Diane, let's make this happen. Over the next hour we reviewed documents, ran numbers, signed papers. But underneath it all, something else was happening. I was taking my life back. 2 weeks later, the donation was announced. Not with a whisper, but with a bang. Press releases, camera crews, headlines. I was on national television, standing beside the executive director of the children's charity, explaining why I'd chosen to give away millions to kids I'd never met. Because I saw something in them that I no longer recognized in my own family. Gratitude. The next morning, the phone rang before 7 a.m. It was her. Mom. I saw the news. Please tell me that wasn't you. It was. Her breath caught. You had that kind of money. All this time. Why didn't you say anything? Because I didn't want you to define me by a number. And clearly I was right. But why live like that? To teach you and your brother to build something. To stand on your own. To value people for who they are, not what they have. But I was worried about you. We all were. I never asked for your worry, Alexia. I just wanted your respect. And now that you know I had money. Are you ready to offer it? Silence. And then, where are you going? Bangladesh. To volunteer. 3 months. You're leaving. Just like that. What about the holidays? I thought you made it clear. I'm not needed at your table. The flight to Bangladesh took nearly 36 hours. Layovers. Delays. A whirlwind of terminals and customs lines. But as the plane touched down in Dhaka, something in me clicked into place. The airport was a sea of movement. Vendors shouting, families hugging, the smell of spices and diesel heavy in the air. My body was tired, but my mind was wide awake. Donna Albright from the Southeast Asia Children's Future Initiative met me at arrivals. She was in her late 50s, sun-kissed and no-nonsense, the kind of woman who didn't care about titles or handbags. Diane Carson, she said, extending a hand. We've been looking forward to meeting you. I'm not here for a ribbon cutting, I replied. I'm here to work. And I meant it. We drove through narrow, noisy streets filled with more life than I'd seen in years. Donna briefed me on the schedule. 2 weeks in Bangladesh at a medical clinic, a month in Myanmar to help build a school, then Cambodia for a nutrition program, and finally, a week in the Philippines documenting impact. You're the first donor who's asked to do field work, Donna said. Most just send checks. I've sent checks before, I told her. It didn't change my life. This might. The clinic in Dhaka was humbling. Corrugated metal buildings. Children with sunken cheeks and bright eyes. Mothers who didn't have enough but gave everything they could. I helped with intake, assisted doctors, passed out vitamins and held frightened toddlers while they got shots. Dr. Hazel Del Laura, the clinic director, pulled me aside one day. "You speak softly," she said. "Children trust you quickly. Have you done this before?" "I raised two," I said. "But this is different. Because they don't take anything for granted," she nodded. "Exactly." On day 10, we admitted a severely malnourished girl named Rashida. She weighed less than a healthy toddler, even though she was 7. I stayed with her until she stabilized, reading her books and holding her hand while she slept. That night I got a message from Emma. "Hi Grandma. Mom gave me your number. Hope you're okay. I miss you." I stared at the screen. She had never texted me before. I replied, "I'm fine, sweetheart. I'm helping children here. I miss you too." She responded within seconds. "That's so cool. Mom's been crying a lot since you left. She won't tell me why. Kids have no filters." "She's been weird," Emma added. "I think something happened between you two. Are you coming back for Christmas?" I didn't know how to answer that yet. That evening on the hostel rooftop, I sat with other volunteers, nurses, teachers, students from all over the world. We swapped stories and laughs over cups of strong tea and plates of rice. A German nurse said, "The kids here recover faster. They're just grateful to feel better." "I wish my daughter understood that," I said, surprising even myself. One of the older volunteers, Joan from Canada, gave me a thoughtful look. "Maybe she still can," she said. "But you've got to show her what she lost when she pushed you away." Days turned into weeks. Every morning I woke up with purpose. I helped treat patients, cleaned wounds, calmed crying children, and taught basic English to teens who clung to every word like it was their golden ticket out. One day Charles Harrison called me. The phone connection was shaky, but his voice cut through the static. "Diane, your donation has sparked a movement. We've received over $200,000 in follow-up contributions. The press coverage is exploding." "That's wonderful," I said. He paused. "Your daughter's called the office several times." I let that sit in the air. "She wants to talk to you." "I'm not ready," I said, watching children chase a soccer ball made of bundled rags down the dirt road outside my window. "I'm where I'm needed." The next morning I was treating Rashida when a message popped up on my phone. Not from Alexia but from Emma. "Mom's really upset. She won't say why. Jordan thinks it's about you. Did you two fight?" I paused before responding. "We disagreed. Adults sometimes need space to think." Later that evening I walked up to the rooftop again. The stars were brighter there. Less city, more sky. A young nurse asked what brought me here. "My daughter told me I didn't belong in her world anymore," I said. Someone else chimed in. "And now you belong in everyone else's." We laughed. It was true. In Portland I'd been invisible. Here I was needed. Another volunteer asked, "So are you teaching her a lesson?" I thought for a long moment. "I'm showing her what she lost. And what I gave away. Quietly, completely. Because she made me feel like I didn't matter." They nodded. No judgment. Just understanding. That night I journaled. Day 22. Rashida smiled today. She's gaining weight. I haven't thought about Alexia's opinion in 3 days. This is what it feels like to be valued, not pitted. When CNN returned for a follow-up interview, they asked me, "Why donate abroad? Why not help closer to home?" I looked out at the children playing in the clinic's courtyard. Because these kids don't judge gifts by the giver's status. They just know someone showed up for them. That's what matters. The camera rolled, and I knew Alexia would see it. But for once that didn't scare me. It didn't define me. I had found a version of myself I hadn't seen in years. 3 months later, I stood in the departure lounge of the Manila airport. The rain streaked down the windows, mirroring the bittersweet ache in my chest. My hands were tanned from the sun, my muscles leaner, my hair cropped short after a practical village haircut. But the real change was deeper. In my carry-on was a folder stuffed with letters and photos. Rashida, smiling wide next to her mother. The teenagers from Myanmar, now applying to universities. Charts showing real growth in children from the Cambodian nutrition program. And one letter, handwritten by 43 children from a remote village in the Philippines. Each one had written a single sentence in neat, shaky English. "Thank you for believing we are worth helping." Those words echoed through me, louder than any applause, more powerful than any headline. As my flight crossed the Pacific, my phone buzzed again and again. Missed calls, texts, Jordan. Even Michael, my son, who usually stayed out of family tension. "Grandma, Mom's a mess. She keeps crying. She looked up flights to Asia. Please just let us know you're okay." Emma's messages weren't polished. They weren't curated. They were raw, real. She wasn't trying to manage optics. She just missed her grandmother. And in that moment I knew I would see her again. But Alexia would have to earn her way back. When I walked into my apartment, everything was exactly as I left it. The same thrifted furniture. The same single-bedroom layout. But it felt like a museum now, a snapshot of the woman I used to be. I was only home for 47 minutes when someone knocked on my door. It was her. Alexia. She looked different, tired, no makeup, jeans and a sweater instead of her usual polished perfection. Her hair was pulled back like she couldn't be bothered with appearances anymore. "Mom," she whispered. "You're back." "I am." I didn't invite her in. We stood at the threshold like strangers, two people who once shared a life now negotiating whether they could share a moment. "I've tried to reach you for 3 months. I've watched every interview, read every article." She was holding something in her hands. It looked like one of the articles printed out and folded in half. "I just wanted to say, I'm proud of what you did." "Are you?" "Yes. Or are you just relieved that your mother isn't the embarrassment you assumed she was?" The words landed like a blow. She flinched, eyes brimming with tears. "I never meant to shame you," she said. "But I see now that I did." I said nothing. She took a shaky breath. "I told you that you lacked the social fluency to be part of our world. But what I really meant was, I didn't think you fit in with the image I'd built." Another pause. "I was wrong." Still I said nothing. "I lost my mother before you ever left. I just didn't realize it until someone else saw your worth. And you let them." Now that hit me. "What do you want from me, Alexia?" "I want to understand. I want to fix this. I want my mom back." I looked at her, really looked. No manipulation. No spin. Just a woman cracked open by regret. I asked, "Do you want the mom you dismissed? Or the one who made headlines and now has money?" "No. I want the woman who held me when I cried. The woman who raised me to be strong, even if I forgot how to be kind." The silence that followed was heavier than any words we could have spoken. "I'm not the same woman I was when I left," I finally said. "And I'm not going to apologize for existing anymore." She nodded. "I don't want you to. I just want a chance to show you that I've changed too." I stood there considering everything. Then I opened the door wider. "Come in. I want to tell you about Rashida." Alexia stepped inside and looked around like she was seeing my apartment for the first time. Not judging, just absorbing. The worn couch. The chipped table. The modest kitchen. Her eyes didn't dart like they used to, searching for things to fix or critique. She sat down carefully, like she was stepping into a sacred space. "Tell me about them," she said. "Tell me about all the kids you helped." So I did. I told her about Rashida's laugh, about the Myanmar students who now dreamed in English. I showed her pictures of Cambodian children holding bowls of rice like treasure. I shared the letter from the 43 kids who didn't know me but still wrote, "Thank you for believing we are worth helping." Alexia listened. Really listened. Not with the frozen smile or the polite nods. With her whole heart. When I finished, she wiped her eyes and asked, "Would you consider joining us for Thanksgiving this year? Not because you can afford the wine, but because we want you there. Emma and Jordan want their grandma. And I want to remember what it feels like to have a mother who's proud of me for the right reasons." I looked at her. Still successful. still privileged. But something in her had shifted. The ice was gone. In its place, humility. Curiosity. "Oh, I'll think about it," I said. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a door cracked open. And for the first time in years that felt like enough. And if that story hit home, then you already know what to do. Life's not about impressing people at the table. It's about who you'd fight for to keep them at it. If you've ever felt unseen, underestimated, or just plain left out, share this. Someone out there needs to hear it. And hey, if you're ready for more stories that cut this deep, subscribe. You've got a seat at this table. We're just getting started.